Just into CNN, very sad news. Actor Matthew Perry has died at the age of 54. The Los Angeles Times, quoting law enforcement sources, is reporting the Friends star was found dead today in a hot tub at his Los Angeles home. The LA Times reports its sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity because the investigation was ongoing did not cite a cause of death, but said there was no sign of foul play. Perry appeared in countless other TV shows, but is best known for his role of Chandler in Friends. The sitcom ran for 10 seasons. Perry appeared in every episode. His battle with alcohol and drugs, specifically painkillers, was well known, and he wrote about his addiction in his memoir that he titled Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, including that he went to rehab more than 60 times. CNN's Camila Bernal is in Los Angeles. Camila, what more do we know about Matthew Perry's death?
Hey, Pam, very few details here, but as you mentioned, the LA Times is saying that this was an apparent drowning accident at his LA home. This appears to have happened today. We have reached out to Matthew Perry's team. We also reached out to the LAPD. They have not gotten back to us, but the LA Times is saying there is no apparent foul play in this incident. Unfortunately, we are waiting to get that confirmation from LAPD and from Matthew Perry's team there. Unfortunately, this is obviously extremely heartbreaking for the Hollywood community and really for the world that watched Friends. This was such a great show. Matthew Perry was obviously Chandler Bing. He made so many of us laugh for so many seasons, so many episodes. You know, just watching the reunion episode was also just nice to see the whole team, to see the gang there. Unfortunately, this is the news that we're getting today. We'll have to wait for that confirmation. And as you mentioned, Matthew Perry was very open about his struggles with addiction. And so as of now, the LA Times is also saying no foul play suspected. But again, we have to wait for a lot of those details, Pam.
We do. And so many of us know him from Friends. And then he really reemerged in a big way when his memoir came out, and he made the rounds with interviews talking about his struggles when he was on Friends, talking about how his weight would fluctuate because of his addiction to alcohol and drugs. And he talked about how he went to AA meetings thousands of times and went to rehab as well many times, and that he was finally able to break the cycle of addiction. Tell us more about what we know about Matthew Perry from his memoir, those interviews he did, as we learn of his untimely death at the age of 54, according to the LA Times, being found in a hot tub dead. Again, learning more circumstances surrounding his death, waiting for police to provide more details. But tell us a little bit more about his background, if you would, Camila.
Yeah, so it was nice to hear directly from him. You mentioned the memoir. He did a lot of interviews as well as he was promoting his book, and he was willing to speak about everything that happened to him. He would get extremely emotional as he talked about his struggles and going in and out of rehab, as you mentioned, and what he went through, even as he was filming Friends, because of course this was sort of the biggest show of his career. But he spoke about going through those struggles even during the taping of Friends, and going through these episodes and still showing up, right? And still making us laugh, and still just making everybody happy. And it was just such a good show, right? And he brought such a fun aspect to the show with his jokes, with his personality. So it was interesting to see both sides, right? The person that he played on Friends, but also the person that was struggling with this addiction behind closed doors. And so I think anybody that was around in the 90s or that grew up in the 90s watched Chandler Bing and was excited to see him sort of overcome that addiction. Again, we have to wait to confirm the foul play. That's what the LA Times is saying, that right now that is not the case. So we'll just have to wait on those details from law enforcement, but it is a long career, and of course, one that's very well known for his role in Friends.
Yeah, you know, Friends was his biggest claim to fame, but he starred and guest starred in countless other TV shows over the year, just to name a few of them. Boys Will Be Boys, Growing Pains, Silver Spoons, Charles in Charge, The West Wing, Scrubs, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, Go On, The Odd Couple, and many more. And as you pointed out, he recently resurfaced as well in the Friends reunion that I know a lot of Friends fans were eagerly awaiting and watching.
Yeah, and on social media, there was a lot of talk about the reunion and how he looked and the way that he spoke during the reunion. There were a lot of questions about what he was going through, but he came out and said, look, I'm okay, I'm in a good place. So it's unclear exactly how he was at the moment, or just recently. Last we heard, he did speak out saying that he was fine, but we have to wait to probably hear from his team to really figure out what he was going through, if he was going through anything at the moment, or as the LA Times is saying, this appears to have been an accident.
Yeah, no foul play, according to the LA Times. And again, he spoke just last year, I believe it was, about the fact that he had struggled with addiction, that he had broken that cycle of addiction through a lot of hard work over many years. And, when you look at his character in Friends, Chandler, it was such a fan favorite, right? I mean, and maybe for the younger generation who didn't watch Friends, people loved that show, but they also loved his character. He made such an impression on people. And I think that's also why when he came out with his memoir, it was really a shock to people that he had these struggles behind the scenes, because he was in all the episodes, he was in all the seasons, and he was so beloved.
Yeah, we fell in love with Chandler, right? And he made us fall in love with Chandler and Monica. I mean, it was just fun to watch him be around the group because he brought so much joy as Chandler, right? And he always had a good line or something in the way that he spoke or his gestures that made us laugh. And so really throughout the 90s, we all fell in love with Chandler Bing, and he really made us want to watch Friends. Of course, it was all of them together, but Matthew Perry, of course, a key part in all of those Friends episodes.